it's life insurance and I can't use it while I'm alive. Other people are going to get to use it, so why should I? The other people that would get to use it are your people. And I'm like, the first thing people think about is, how can I get that body right? How can I get that body tight? And I said, and the one people often leave off is financial wellness. Because being broke is stressful. Welcome to the Balance to Excellence show. I'm Dr. Judy Wright, physician and wellness and performance strategist. And today I'm excited to be here with Christina Linscomb. She's a dedicated wife and a mother, and she's a seasoned professional. She has a diverse career background. She spent 8 years as a registered nurse where she developed a deep understanding of care and compassion. And after experiencing the loss of a loved one, she transformed that grief into a mission to educate and support others through life insurance. So now, as a licensed financial professional, Christine is building a virtual agency that combines her healthcare expertise with financial acumen, making financial planning accessible and impactful. With a heartfelt approach and a passion for empowering others, Christine is committed to helping individuals and families secure their financial futures. And so we are excited today to hear from Christine Linscomb and understand how she moved into becoming a healthcare professional and then somehow turned that to where she is now as a licensed financial professional. Welcome, Christine. Thank you so much for being on the Balance to Excellence show today.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to be here on this beautiful sunny day. I don't know if you can see outside, but it is nice and sunny today.
I can see the sun coming in through your window, most definitely. We like sunny days. It's gotten very cold in the mornings over here. you know and so we're adjusting,
Mhm.
but we call this like the 35 days 35 seasons of autumn at this point, and so we could get anything over here. So Christine, like I said, how did you decide that you wanted to be a nurse, and what was your journey to that?
Yeah.
And then we'll ask you a little bit more about that next journey.
So for me, I always knew that I wanted to be a nurse. I think my biggest influence was my mom and all the other nurses in my family. I have nurses in my family, and I think one or two doctors, both on both sides, my mom and dad's side.
Mhm.
However, I have grown up in a Caribbean household. Um,
Oh, stop right there now. What island?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, okay. Jamaica over here. All right.
What? Oh wow! I did not know.
I know. I didn't. I know. Neither did I. Very nice. Very nice. My sister-in-law, her family's from Trinidad.
Wow,
Yes.
actually, the last time I went back was about 2 years ago, and it was my first time back in 23 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You must
yeah.
have had a ball.
Well, we had a blast. I had to adjust to the heat. No one warned me about the heat. We got there. We actually had to spend the night waiting on because we went to Trinidad and then we were going to Tobago. So
Okay.
we landed and we had to wait about 6 or 7 hours for the next flight to Tobago. And we were sleep deprived because we landed in Trinidad, Port of Spain, like at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So that morning, we're sleep deprived and then I'm hot. It was not a good mix, but we had a great time. It was amazing.
That's wonderful. It's always nice to be able to go back to the islands. It's just a different vibe altogether.
Mhm.
Different vibe.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I interrupted you. I just got excited. So you were saying that you basically it sounds like there were a lot of healthcare professionals,
Hmm.
you know, from
Yeah.
both sides of the family.
A huge influence. And so just at a young age, I'm like, hey, like my mom loves just like healing, natural healing, all of that. And so that was just my biggest influence, my mom, and then just seeing the nurses in my family. So always I wanted to be a nurse. And then came to America and just made sure I, was on the right path to nursing. And I finally became a nurse. So it's been 8 years and I have been loving it. And I have learned a lot. It's been a lot of learning. But then also just seeing, we see a lot of patients come in and they are spending a lot of time, like if they're being discharged, they are waiting for them to be placed in like a nursing home or rehab. Um, and then sometimes we have family that is creating these GoFundMe accounts for medical expenses, for them to get help with medical expenses. And so I started noticing that. And then whenever it came to my aunt got diagnosed with colorectal cancer in her 40s. And so just seeing it hit home, just seeing her go through the pain, also trying to balance being a mother. So going through that physical pain and adjustment and then that mental pain as well. It was just a lot, it hit home and then you just really start looking at things in a different perspective. But eventually she passed. I know that she had life insurance through her job, hence why she literally worked up until like her last breath because she was trying to secure and make sure that she leaves something behind for her kids because her kids were young whenever she passed. However, I saw the benefits of just that life insurance and how it helped the family. But I started wanting to learn how to really process this grief and how I could transition and navigate this grief into like a healthier way of me coping. And so I started learning more about like life insurance. And the things that I learned was like just mind blowing. Like, for example, just having life insurance outside of your job. I think for me, growing up in a small community and then in a Caribbean household, there was that lack of knowledge of life insurance because there's always that myth of life insurance. You could only use it. Well, you can't even use it while you're alive. The family will be using it. So why do I need it? Why do I need a large lump sum? And so just educating myself on the benefits of having life insurance outside of your job was just mind blowing. And so that is what really gave me that passion of wanting to educate people more on it and really debunking those myths and misconceptions of life insurance.
You just said something that um, I have heard in the past. I don't hear it as much anymore because I'm grown, my generation's grown, and now I think we look at it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the idea that, well, it's life insurance and I can't use it while I'm alive, other people are going to get to use it, so why should I? And there's so much that goes into that, like, because I know I've heard it, and I haven't just heard it from people of a particular race. I've heard it, from all types of races. And it's just like, well, first of all, the other people that would get to use it are your people. And I'm like, and then second of all, with all that goes on at the time, that's like you said with your aunt, at the time that's going on is not the time that you want to have to think about that. And so first of all, let me say, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Um, but I think you can attest to the fact that with everything you're dealing with, hearing this news about yourself, your family members are dealing with hearing this news. That's not the time you want to have to figure it all out.
Mhm.
And you may not even be able to do anything at that point because who would insure you?
Right.
But that's not the time you want to have to try
Mhm.
to figure everything out. And I say that about a lot of things, which is why. And the other thing that you said, the GoFundMe's. Now, I don't look down on anybody that has to do a GoFundMe, but it also is a testament to how sometimes we need to think ahead. Sometimes real young, we
Yes.
need to think ahead. We don't think about these things when we're in our 20s, but we know anything can happen at any time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And so when you were deciding I needed to come up with a healthier way to deal, what made life insurance be the one? Like what made that be what you're like, this is how I'm going to deal with
Yeah. So it's funny that you've asked that. No one else has really asked that.
it?
So really, my mom was approached by someone about, like selling life insurance, and my mom was like, "Oh, I'm not really interested. Let me give you my daughter's phone number. Maybe she would be." My mom was just kind of brushing them off, like she didn't think that I would really be interested. But when I was educated with, like, they were asking me all these questions, like, how much are you paying for your mortgage? Do you have any debt? And then they started going into, well, with what you're telling me, you need this much coverage. If something were to happen to you, this is what you need so that, all of this is covered, and then your kids and your husband isn't left with this huge debt. And then learning about living benefits with life insurance. And so my mom didn't think that I'll be interested, but I don't know. I proved her wrong. I mean, I became educated on it, and I'm so grateful that she told him about me
Yeah.
because just learning about, the benefits of the life insurance and just being mind blown of living benefits, being able to use it while you're alive for diagnosis. That was just like, wow, I wish my aunt knew about this. And so that is really what pulled me into learning more about life insurance.
So it was mom, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Mom did it.
Mom,
mom mom punted. She was like, boop. And and probably thought, yeah, she's gonna say no anyway. You
yeah,
so, but sometimes that's how it happens. Sometimes things that are meant to happen a certain way happens in the most unexpected
yes, yes.
ways, right? So okay, so since then, because now you're thinking, now not you're thinking, you're in the midst of building a virtual agency,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how long have you been doing working in life insurance? Is that the only insurance you're working in? And how, you know, what made you come up with doing a virtual agency, and how, how's that going?
Yes. So I've been in this industry for about 2 years now.
Hmm.
And what made me go about virtual is that, ever since COVID, everything has changed. Everyone is doing Zoom appointments for meeting over these virtual face-to-face networks. Instead of me, like the traditional way of knocking on doors, house visits, like driving hours to see someone. We don't have to do that anymore. Um,
Hmm.
Zoom call, FaceTime, whatever the case may be, we can, be face to face that way. And then also we're able to upload visuals and graphics so that our clients could also look and see what we're going through for their plan.
Okay. Okay. I 100% agree with you. And I think the people who were able to navigate the transition that was set before us are going to be the most successful. We're seeing this again happen with AI, right? Because AI has been around quite a long time, but now, now it's been honed in for the public, but it's also making some people nervous, right?
Mhm.
Like, what's going to become of my job if AI is going to take over? And so we're seeing the transition happen with AI, and it's a matter of really finding your space within it, and really learning how to do virtual. Because I guarantee you, there were people who they're like, that's not me. I don't even really do computers. I'm still on paper. And 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 for the people that, because there really are people that they need to be face to face with you. That's how they do their best work. They had to learn how to transition in order to be able to keep whatever career or even business going. And so, yeah, I don't think I've seen anybody face to face for any of my financial stuff since 2020. Since 2020, it's all phone or Zoom or something of the like. So, I 100% understand that. So, the question I have for you, right, is, do you still do direct patient care?
I do. I still
You do.
do.
All right. So,
Current.
how are you navigating
Uh-huh.
all of that? Because you are a wife, you are a mom, you are a daughter, you are a nurse, and you're a business owner. So, how do you navigate all of that?
I am still trying to find that balance. Of
Hmm.
course, it's not easy wearing all of these hats, these different hats. However, I'm still trying to find that balance. What I do is pray to help me when I need strength. I pray. Um, I just try to set aside some time to do that. Or, whenever I'm driving, like driving to work, or I just need that extra boost, I pray. That's what keeps me grounded.
Yeah. Yeah. I often talk to people, professionals, especially healthcare professionals like yourself, about the importance of finding, time and prioritizing their well being. And part of that really is finding time to do things that are mindful. And praying is one of those mindful things, right? You have to be there now. Now, I know sometimes you're driving. Right? And even I'll pray in my car while I'm driving if I have to stop, pull over, or before I pull out of whatever parking space. I'll say a prayer. But it's a time to have that mindful moment, and
Mhm.
it really helps to keep you in a more calm space when you're feeling stressed, you know, or if some people meditate, they don't call it praying, but they meditate, or, they do something else that really puts them in the zone. It might be a certain type of, white noise, a certain type of low laying music that puts them in a zone where they're calm and it helps them with the stress. And the reason I asked you that question is because um, it is a lot, right? You hold many hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be clear. And that's why I said not just that you're a wife, you're a mom, you're a daughter. You seem close to your family.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I enjoy talking to you already, so you must have friends.
Yes.
And it's interesting because that's part of our situation too, keeping up, our friendships and things of that nature. One of my friends, no, two of them actually, earlier this year, finished MBA degrees. They're physicians, they have children, they work, and they just finished up MBA degrees, and it's just like woo wee.
Yes.
you know so it's a lot to balance, and I always talk to people about what it takes to try to find that level of balance so that you can manage your stress better, because as you elevate, which I am sure you are going to continue to do, Christine,
Yeah.
it becomes more and more, and you need to be able to employ, certain skills of, mindfulness and of boundaries,
Mhm.
and being able to maintain those boundaries, different things that you have to do for your physical and your mental and your emotional health, that all comes together. And sometimes for our mental health, or even, our overall well-being, we have to pivot, and pivot doesn't always mean, as you show, pivot doesn't always mean you completely let go of something. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes it means pivot into something that is tugging at you, that is just something you got to do,
Yes.
right? you know
Yes.
it's just something you got to do. And so n- in your 2 years that you've been doing, this teaching people about, financial planning, and what that's about, you know what kind of, I guess what I'm wondering, what kind of feedback, like, who are you reaching out to, and what kind of feedback have you been getting?
So I want to reach out to everyone, but
Mm.
really the main ones are like those with a family, married, children, they're homeowners, um, college students, even those who are probably 30 years and older, just because, like we said earlier, the younger generation, like in their 20s, um, they don't really see that, they don't really understand, I would say, the importance of getting insured now, because now they're just thinking of, I'm just having fun. I want to, go out with my peers. I'm healthy right now and I'm good. I don't need it. However, they do need it. This you want to get it whenever you are at your healthiest, because it'll be a lot more cost effective.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, healthy. Why wouldn't the insurance give you, like a policy?
Right.
So it's a lot more cost effective, and we just never know what could happen. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen like GoFundMe accounts of like college students. They're going out with their friends, or they're going home to visit their family, and they get into a car accident. And now they are in the hospital, and the family's asking for help with hospital expense bills, like their bills being paid. Recently, I saw one about a 30-year-old that was diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Mm.
They have they had children. Actually, they just passed away. So death, illnesses, like it doesn't have an age limit. Like no one is exempt. We just never know what can happen, and getting coverage, especially when you're young and healthy, just do it now, because you just never know what can happen, and you don't want to be in the situation of depending on your GoFundMe for people to donate to it. Like, who really wants to be in that situation? It's stressful. That adds more
It's
stress.
not easy.
Not easy.
I mean, some people think that when they see people, and this is why I try my best. I'm human. I try my best not to judge, because I think about me, and I'm like, just yesterday, I had to put some information out, that I normally, probably a few years ago, wouldn't have. But I needed an understanding of stuff. And then I looked through my phone and said, who do I think would best be able to help me figure this information out?
Yeah.
And I reached out to a colleague and a previous manager, um, and and a friend, and he was helpful. But even more so, he's like, my wife just walked through the door. I think she would have the answer. Is it okay if I talk to her? Sure. And she came on the phone and was just phenomenal. I
Oh.
know her too. Phenomenal, right? Just gave me so much information, concise. And what I'm saying is, sometimes you do it because you can't see another way. But
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean it's easy to put yourself out there and say, we don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do this. We don't have it. And at the risk of looking like we're begging, we
Mhm.
like to lay, our person to rest. Now, of course, if it's a young child, it's like no one even wants to believe that could happen to a young baby, a
Yeah.
young child. Those are the most unexpected.
Mhm.
But how do you get across to someone in their 20s? Like, what do you say? See, to get across to someone in their 20s, or maybe sometimes it's not even them, their parents. Look, we know
That's,
you don't even want to think about this with your child, but
yeah, I mean, that's what it is. If they're in their 20s and they're just like delaying the process or dragging their feet and they're like pushing it off, the parents, and really the parents is the one that reaches out because they understand the importance. They understand the importance of just getting it now, and while they're young. As parents, we make sure that they have life insurance. However, we want to make sure that they keep up with the coverage as well, because we think that, at least for me, I'm a mom. I guess I would also believe that my kids are getting older. It's time for them to take over this coverage, but they don't always follow through with keeping up with the payments. And so I believe that just knowing that you always want to be involved and making sure, like, did you pay your payments? Are you keeping up with it? And also checking in, because anything can happen. No one wants to be in those situations. We want to make um, grief isn't bearable, but we want to make it at least less stressful as it
yeah,
can be. Financial stress is just a huge another. It's just another topic. But we want to at least alleviate some of that financial stress from the table, to where the family can really focus on grieving and just figuring out and processing everything that's happening. This huge life change and transition.
yeah. Well, that's a nice transition because we are going to talk financial stress.
Mhm.
Because when we're talking about, well-being, I always tell people we there's all a lot of people when they talk about their wellness or health and wellness is a nice trigger term, and the first thing people think about is how can I get that body right? How can I get that body tight? They may even think and that they're like, I got to exercise, I got to do this. There might be some plastic surgery involved, but also they think about nutrition. All important. Nutrition, staying physical, all important, right? We
Mhm.
have more people thinking about their mental health, wellness, so that's great. That's wonderful. It's being acknowledged. Um, it's not being as funded as it needs to be, but there's more acknowledgement and there's a bit more funding going into things. Um, but anyways, I say, but there's your emotional wellness.
Mhm.
There's your relational wellness. How are your relationships? There's your spiritual wellness, right? And you don't have to even be religious to have spiritual wellness. Um, and I said, and the one people often leave off is financial wellness, because being broke is stressful,
Mhm.
right? Now that doesn't mean being rich alleviates stress,
Right.
but being broke, that's stressful.
Mhm.
And so, fi- financial wellness, even when as we're talking insurance, that's like one piece of it. So can you, when we're talking about finding that balance and managing our stress, um, can you talk about what it means to be financially well? And is when you're talking about your virtual agency, is insurance the only thing you do, like in the virtual agency that you're building?
Yes. So life insurance and retirement planning is both of what I do and what I focus on, for families. And so financial stress, stress, first of all, is basically, we're going to connect this to nursing. Stress is an inflammatory response in our body. And so something as simple as being not resting, not getting enough sleep, we hear the importance of at least getting 8 hours of sleep. The reason being is because something as simple as not getting enough sleep, we're causing stress in our body. And so we will start experiencing, we're tired, foggy mind, our nose starts sniffling. All of that is our body responding to the stress that we're putting on it by not giving our body enough time to rest, not enough time to recover. And so when you already have illnesses, you're exacerbating, you're putting more stress on your body. And so,
Absolutely.
yes. And so that's why it's important to, in a financial aspect, to give yourself that peace of mind of using life insurance as a tool, as a financial safety net, so that if you were to get sick, you could use life insurance while you're alive, because we have something called living benefits. I'm not sure if you want me to really go more into that right now. Um,
We will, because seriously, I've learned a little bit about it, but even I don't, understand it that well. And it's shocking to a lot of people. So I think a lot of people would like to just understand, what do you mean? Because life insurance is for when you die, right? Yeah, we can go a little into that.
yeah. So, living benefits, there's three categories. So there is terminal, chronic, and critical. Terminal, of course, if you have 12 to 24 months left to live, you can use a very good portion of your life insurance coverage while you are alive. You just contact the insurance, let them know this is my diagnosis, and they say, okay, here is this amount of money, this percentage of your coverage that you can use while you're alive for medical expenses, paying your bills for home, whatever you need it for. Then there is critical insurance benefit, and so you can use that, for example, a stroke, a heart attack, um, things like that. You can get also a percentage of that coverage for you to use for medical expenses, your home, so that you could just focus on resting and recovering, so that you could heal faster to go back to work, or just proceed life.
Hmm.
And then there is the chronic. So I can use the example of getting to a car accident. You're left quadriplegic, so you need assistance with toileting. You need assistance being fed. You could use a certain amount of that coverage while you're alive for you to get back on your feet somehow, and just like alleviate that financial stress, not just on yourself but on your family as well, because they
Okay.
would be the one that's your caretaker. So those are just like the three different riders, living benefit riders, that you could use while you're alive to help alleviate a lot of that financial stress, and you just focus on healing.
If you had, I'm just going to say, baseline, basic um, life insurance, which when everybody hear you say basic, that's not a bad thing, because you at least have life insurance.
Yes.
Are those in there? Or do you have to ask for those to be added in ahead of time?
Yeah. So there's different type of life insurance. So the one you're talking about is usually like the term life insurance. Think of
Hmm.
temporary. So there's an expiration on how long
Hmm.
insurance. Usually it's about 30 years. So the one that everyone know of is just like the coverage for whenever you pass away, the family gets that one.
Hmm.
And then there's the term life insurance with living benefits. That's what we were talking about. The same, you have insurance for your death coverage, but then also the living benefits that you could use while you're alive. You're able to um, accelerate your benefit, your coverage, for you to use that insurance money. And
Right.
then there is whole life insurance, which is permanent coverage. You have that coverage basically for the rest of your life, up until you're about 100. And then there is the universal life, which I call like the Lamborghini of the insurances. It's a lot more flexible. You still have the living benefits. It's permanent, so you have it for the rest of your life. The premiums are flexible. You're able to build cash value in those accounts. to use for either retirement, um, college funds, even like if you want to gift your child that type of policy, you could say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I have this insurance set aside for you to use, and we could actually use some of this money for you to purchase your first car. Or we could use it for you to put 20% down on your new home, pay for your wedding, whatever the case may be, you're able to use that money for whatever you want to." So life insurance have completely evolved from just insurance for whenever you pass away.
You got that right because I was like, universal.
You know,
I'm thinking I know something about whole life. You said universal. I'm like, what? Um, Oftentimes what comes up for people though is that all sounds expensive. I need my money now. I don't have money to put into that. And we're talking about financial stress. That could put a financial stress on me having to pay that every month. So what would you say to that?
I would say that if they can afford it, I'm not going to pressure you into getting it. I want you to be able to afford and spend money within your means. So for
Right.
right now, if you could afford a certain amount, we're going to work within your budget. But if your goal is for you to get that fancier life insurance, we can work on that. We could connect later on whenever you believe that you could financially afford it. However, if you can't afford it right now, if you can't keep up with it, why put yourself in that situation?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because the goal is, and that's what I get from you, Christine. The goal is not to make you financially stressed. Your goal is I want some of that stress and I'm helping you to look ahead, not just here, right? Here is very important, but also to look ahead down the line on how, not to be stressed that way too. And you also said you do retirement planning as well,
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
right? Yeah. So definitely. So now let's take it back to your nursing for a bit. Um, and how long have you been doing nursing?
8 years.
8 years. So you've seen some stuff. And
Yeah.
you've seen some stuff in 8 years. And because there's a lot that you've seen, like, how do you work on being able to leave work at work and coming home and being at home and doing home things and being able to be there now? Like, what type of things have you put in place to be able to help you with that?
Honestly, I am still working on that.
Yeah,
My kids are a lot younger, so they're a lot more dependent on me. I
that's true.
believe that if, maybe if they cross that 10 years old and 10 and older, they'll be a little bit more independent. But they're young. So
Yeah,
I'm still working on that balance. But if I have help on the days that I do pick up a shift, um, I greet my children. I mean, I try to put them to bed. Like, that's our time of spending time together before they go to sleep, especially if I have work in the morning. Um, I pray, I don't know, or even work out if I need to, and just find that moment. Sometimes I stay up kind of late for me to find that me time, um,
yeah,
to alleviate, my tensions. But right now it's a work in progress.
I hear you. Is for you is every day different and like is there some predictability to your day or is like every day like I don't know what's coming? Yeah.
There's
Um
predictability.
there's
Yes,
some predictability.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So um are you able to have like some routine? Like I love the fact that you said our time is when I get to put them to bed. I love that, right? Because you divvied out that time to say they know this is my time with mom. Definitely, we can count on mom being here, putting us to bed, laying us to sleep, and that does something for you too, knowing that you put your babies, comfortably and safely in their bed. Are there any other routines that you've picked up that helps you along the way with feeling even keel?
Going for walks, especially with the kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
going for walks because they have a lot of energy and
Hmm.
just need to get out the house.
Yeah.
Um, for a walk is super simple. It's not strenuous, and it's just a great way for you to just tap out of your phone, and you're just looking at the
Yes.
nature. And just, at least for me, just like seeing the kids like either run, and I'm trying to catch up with them. But just it's a great time for us to connect. We're out there in nature, we're breathing in fresh air. And so that's like another way that I use to just balance the chaos.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, and I love that because you said so. It's like when people say, "Well, I texted you." I said, "Well, let me just say this. I'm just not one of those people. Like there are times like I'll be moving around, and then at the end of the day, because I don't wear like what's that thing that everybody wears? Like I don't have an Apple Watch. I
Yeah.
don't wear. Yeah. So so the only thing that may pick up how much I'm walking is my phone, but only if I carry my phone. Right? Only if I have my phone with me. And I'm not one, I know people who their phone is attached somehow magically to the palm of their hand wherever they go. I was like, no, sorry, I missed that call because I actually went to the bathroom by myself and without the phone.
I way my husband, he makes fun of me all the time. He's like, where? Because I'm always looking for my phone because I don't always have my phone on me. So I'm always
Yes.
looking for my phone, and he's like, "Girl, you're always losing your phone. Like, what?"
Yes. Yeah, no, we'll actually do stuff like put it down. Right? And if I'm on one floor and I go to another floor, sometimes I don't feel like going back to the other floor, which means now the phone's not with me for i- an hour or so sometimes at the end of the day I'll look and it'll say you took 300 and something steps, and I'm like, that's a bold-faced lie. I just didn't carry my phone everywhere. So I love that you said that, you know, being able to go on walks with your children, that's a time where you're like, no, I'm not even paying attention to the phone. There's no scrolling. There's no this. I'm not checking a text. I'm not checking an email. It's my time with myself or my time with my children. What does self-care look like for you?
Self care. Um, for me, doing like my nightly routine, like my face nightly routine, washing my face. Just doing. I do like the Aztec clay mask. That's all just my little me time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there anything else? I know you said that sometimes you work out.
Yes, yes. So I do work out. For right now, for sure, I'm committed to once a week. But
Mm.
the goal is like 2 to 3 times a week. But I have my workout buddy, one of my really good friends, my accountability partner. So
Oh,
on the
we all need one. We all need one.
yes, oh, understood the importance until me and her got together. Because, there are some days where she's like, I don't get a message from her. And I'm like, I'm off today. Let's work out like in an hour. And she's just like, all right, I'm just getting out of bed. And there are some days where I'm up super early with the kids. And she's like, hey, they just canceled me. I can be there in an hour. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, we're holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I love it because whenever she's ready to work out, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And then whenever she's like, she's in her mood and she doesn't want to work out, but I'm holding her accountable. So I love my accountability partner.
Yeah. No, it's the best to have one, but you definitely need one that's going. My friend, if she listens to this podcast right now, she's going to be like, ma'am, I've been trying to say to you, let's go. I'm hard headed, right? Like, so I know I have to exercise, so I do, but I don't really like exercising. And then I get in those modes where sometimes I want to be in the gym, like,
Mhm.
sometimes I don't want to see the inside of the gym. And she's been trying to get me to go back into the gym. I'm about to fold and go back, right? So
Like,
she
oh,
sees this episode, she's gonna be like, hello.
you were just talking. Let's go.
I've been trying to get you to go back. Right. So I'm about to fold and go back in there. But no, absolutely. And then you were talking about your face regimen. So I was just speaking with someone a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to say, well, what do you do for yourself? And she she's like, I go for walks, and which is a good thing, because she's been on a weight loss journey. But she does a face regimen, and she was looking at it like it was work.
Oh,
She's
really?
like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I said, girl, it's time for you to reframe how you look at that, because, and I told her, I said, because your skin is popping. Right? I was like, and she's, you know, a few days later, I actually saw her, and she was just like, you like changed my whole mindset on that face, right? I was like, girl, your skin is popping. Look, I mean, hello. But she really was looking at all the steps that she did as work, and now she doesn't look at it like that anymore. She's like, no, I'm actually doing this for myself. And now it made her feel like, no, this really is me time, and it relaxed her, rather than looking like, okay, on my list of things to do, I got to do this, I got to do that, you really don't have to do that, and your skin might not be popping the way it is, but so same thing with you. Your skin is glorious looking, Christine.
Oh,
So
thank you.
good job. Good job. Okay. So what does what does success look like to Christine? Because I really do believe that success should be different for different people. A lot of us define success by maybe what our families define success as, or maybe what society at large define success as. But what does success look like to Christine, who is a nurse, and they and that would already have been successful? Which part of that question is, at any point did you feel like, well, what am I doing? I already am a nurse, asking for a friend. The friend is me, because sometimes I say, you already were a doctor. Why did you decide you also wanted to do? So, yeah, what does success look like for you? And at any time did you question doing extra when you already were a great nurse?
So, success to me looks like me having control of my time and money. So, financial freedom and time.
Mhm.
Um, I'm busy, my kids are young. And so I want to be active and really present for my kids. Like, I want to be there to go to their activities outside of school and in school. I don't like to be asking my boss, hey, can I have this day off? And then they
Mm, mm, mm,
decline
mm.
it. Like, I don't like being in that situation. So, success for me looks like me having my own ability to just, hey, my kids have this plan on these days. I want to be there. I want to be able to be off on those days. I don't have to respond to anyone or ask them anything. And then I want to be making some good money. And so, me building my own business will give me those options of time, flexibility, and really good money being built with it.
And let me just say this, because it needs to be said, that I don't think a lot of people realize that, to a certain extent, when you are a healthcare professional, when you were going through your schooling, without them saying it outright and out loud, you were kind of taught that this wasn't about the money, right?
Mhm.
Um, but what does that mean? It's kind of insidious because it's like, it's really about just caring about individuals, which you do,
Yes.
right? But at the same time, it's like, and whatever you make for that, you make for that. So, for instance, as a physician, for me, no matter what position I'm in, you're hard pressed to find, unless you're doing like a temp job, you're hard pressed to find anything that's paying that you get an hourly rate. And if you don't get an hourly, it means you don't. If you're getting salary, um, overtime is not a thing,
Yeah.
right? you know, um, when you want to do certain things, you can get mandated to do things, be there longer. So then that's a lot of pressure on your time if it happens. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but in the back of your mind it can,
Yeah.
right?
So, like, for example, I live here close to like a beach, and
Hmm.
so living near the beach, hurricane season comes around. They're like, "All right, y'all pack your bags. Let's prepare for y'all to be spending time here at the hospital.
Oh, that's a give. Oh.
We're out the cots. We're in
every hurricane
her."
season, you guys already know, get a bag packed.
Uh,
Wow, I've never even, because I don't live in that kind of area. Wow.
And if for those who are young, single, they don't have a family, they're like, all right, cool. But for people like me, I don't want to spend my time at the hospital during a hurricane. Like, I want to be with my kids, my family. Who's going to want
Right. During
to?
the hurricane, you want to be with them and make sure they're safe,
Yeah.
right? Like you,
Yeah. So,
oh, I didn't even think of that.
yeah, there's those, and it's mandatory.
Yes.
Mandatory. And then, of course, working your 12-hour shifts, a lot of nurses are either not drinking water or they're holding their pee for hours because we don't have time to sit down and go to the restroom.
I remember that as a medical student and a resident. I
Yeah.
remember it. Wow.
So I want my freedom. I want my freedom of time and money, and I don't want to break my back doing that. I absolutely love helping people. I still work bedside. Like, I love doing it. However, um, I don't want to be breaking my back doing that for the rest of my life. I don't want to retire doing that. And so
This
now
is your retirement planning. You're like,
that's
I'm,
it.
I'm looking at the big picture that I love doing that and I love doing it now, but my body may say, okay, you know what? Now it's time,
Yeah.
right? You're looking at the bigger picture and
Yeah.
you're looking for far further out,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Wow. Wow, Christine, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That in places where they have hurricane season, it's like, yeah, the healthcare workers have to be prepped and prepared that at any time.
Yeah. So my husband still works staff. So he
Is he a nurse as well?
no, he's not a nurse.
Okay.
But he did have to, our last hurricane, he did have to spend the night. He works night shifts, so he had to
Yeah.
spend the day there, and then the night just sleeping on those cots. But I have flexibility of my work schedule. I'm PRN, I'm in the float pool. So I was at home with the kids. Um, so yeah, like, we living down here, like, we have to prepare for that.
I love learning new things all the time. I just never, when you don't live in a type of situation, I just never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. But in knowing that too, in your back of your head, oh, this could happen at any time, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. And so that freedom of time where you could say, and I hear that also from people, from traveling nurses, and I hear that from you know locum tenens docs that also they're traveling. That it's like, yeah, I make the decision that for 13 weeks I'll be here, I'll be doing this. I can
Mhm.
make the decision that in the winter months in one area, I'm just going to be in a warm area somewhere
Mhm.
else, right? Like, so they're getting to make the decision, and that's a big deal to them. but also still being able to help people is
Yes.
a big deal to them. So I understand that time piece, time free, like time is our greatest resource, right? And it's
Mhm.
the one that is gone, you don't get that back, right?
Right. Yes.
And so that time piece and that time freedom, or that feeling that you have some control
Yes.
over your time, and even if you are working as staff somewhere, some freedom of what you do outside is really important. And this is where even that financial piece comes in, right? Because when financially I can be okay because I've been doing that planning all along. One of my friends said to me yesterday that her daughter graduated from college, and now she's looking for a job. Of course, my friend doesn't feel she's looking for it fast enough, right? So, but she said, soon as she find a job, it's not even an option. It's not even a choice. And I said, you do remember she's an adult, right? She's like, I don't care. It's not an option. It's not a choice. She will start investing,
Mm-hmm.
right? She said, because no one told me that. She said, and I don't blame them. They didn't know because her people from the Caribbean too, right? She's like, they didn't know. And she said, I don't blame them, but if when you know better, you do better, and when you can do better, you should teach better. And I'm gonna tell her, you don't even have a choice. She said, I don't care if she starts investing $10, $20 per paycheck. She needs to start investing
Mm-hmm.
now. And I was like, no, that's a smart thing to do. I'm just saying, if she looks at you like I'm an adult, just be prepared. But no, it's a smart thing to do that we didn't know to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, So, no, absolutely. So, if Christine was able to give any advice right now to even definitely the people of my age, but even the younger set, what would your advice be?
I wish I really understood the importance of life insurance and
Mhm.
getting it, actually building a universal life insurance policy whenever I was younger, because it's actually a lot cheaper getting it whenever you're young compared to getting it at least now in my 30s. But just start working on building that, at least get like a coverage amount that you would be able to afford and still also build cash value. Because I mean, everyone wants like $1 million policy. Why not? However, that will be a lot pricier. So, of course, you'll get something within your means while you're young, but and also make sure that you are able to pay your monthly premiums because you could always get another account whenever you can afford a bigger one. Like you could have as many insurance policies as you want. You could
Yeah.
always get another one. Um, but just focusing on financial literacy, and safety nets as life insurance with living benefits, um, and just educating yourself on a lot of these different aspects of financial safety security.
No, I agree. And like I said, it is being financially secure is not always easy. It does take some sacrifice, but it is part of the main word there is secure. It is part of your wellness and well-being when you have a workable plan in action, or or even as you say, you're building, right? You're doing something toward being more secure as you get older. If you are a parent, being able, um, if you are so being able to do that for your child until your child can do it for themselves is another way. We often think about, well, what can we leave for our child, when we can start thinking about, well, what can we start doing for them from now,
Mm.
little by little, and then let them take it from there when they are of age and they're able to.
Yes.
Um, and so I totally agree with you. on that piece. Just a lot of the stuff is you don't have know-how. And I always tell people, yeah, it could seem scary, but the scarier thing is when you don't know anything at all. So just talk to somebody. It oftentimes is free to just
Yeah.
talk to somebody
Yes.
and find out. And even if you can't do anything then, you could start to make a plan to do something soon,
Yes.
and figure it out. So, well, Christine, this has been a pleasure talking to you. I heard your cute little one. I don't know if that was the youngest or the older one,
Yes.
but it sounded cute. But it's been my pleasure to talk to you. For those of you who are still here, Christine, how can someone get in touch with you if they wanted to learn more? Like I said, it doesn't cost anything to learn something so you can start to try to make decisions of where you want to go from there. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how could they reach out to you?
Yes, I have my own website, and I'm sure we'll have it linked below. They
Mhm.
can find me on Facebook and on Instagram at lovelychrissie_01. Just send me a
For both of them. Okay. That's lovely, Chrissy. Is it Chrissy with a C or Chrissy with a K?
with a C,
With a C.
CHRISSY
Lovely, Chrissy
underscore
_01.
on Instagram.
Okay, that's her handles on Instagram and Facebook. And like she said, we will have that link below. If you are still here, thank you so much. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Always comment. If you have questions, we will do our best to get them answered. Okay, but thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, Christine. It's been my pleasure talking to you today.
Such a pleasure speaking with you today.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Balance to Excellence show. Have a good one.